The 2025 season is over, and things did not go as well as I had hoped. I finished last year in a top 20 position and thought my winter upgrades would only help me improve. However, I fell as low as 64th place at one point this year. This is what happened this season and how I fought my way back towards the top. Before the season started, I made some upgrades to stop my suspension from bottoming out and to get rid of the rear wheel hopping that my car started to do as it got faster last year. I used a dynamics calculator to find the correct spring stiffness and upgraded to stiffer springs and adjustable dampers. I also swapped all of my 20-year-old rubber suspension bushings for fresh, stiffer rubber bushings to reduce flexing in my suspension. With some adjustments on the street, I set my dampers to a compression of 10 and rebound of 7 for my first race, where I placed 35th. Not bad, but as expected with the new setup, I had some fine-tuning to do. With some feedback from the first race, I looked to improve my rear grip. I noticed the outer edge of my tires were wearing more than the inside edge, so I increased rear camber from -2 degrees to -3 degrees. Unfortunately, the result of my second race was almost the same, where I finished one place higher in 34th. Something wasn't working with my new suspension. The third race was the one that broke me. I set my dampers to stiffer settings to see if the car would respond better, and this was a bad call. We were racing on a freshly paved course and it was super slippery. It was literally like driving on ice. Everybody was struggling, but my car seemed even more effective than others. I was 2.5 seconds behind my class leader when I'm usually within 1 second, and as a last-ditch effort, I set my dampers back to my old settings for the last run and managed to improve a few tenths to a sad 64th place finish. This is the race that made me realize that something with my new springs and dampers was fundamentally flawed. For the fourth race, I decided to try the opposite end of the spectrum for my damper settings. Clearly the stiff settings weren't working. I set the compression on my dampers to a really soft setting of 4 and blindly chose a rebound of 6 since that was 50% more. As you'll see later, that's not really accurate, but the goal was to try something different. It only took one run to realize that this is how the car was supposed to feel. I had loads of grip, the car was sharp and athletic, and even my tires warmed up quicker. But the most significant improvement was how easy the car was to drive. It showed no signs of wanting to spin or understeer, so I could just push the car 100%. This was the best my car had ever handled, and it showed as I placed 13th out of 59 that day, just outside the top 10, or 22nd out of 100 when adjusted so it could be compared to my other races. These soft damper settings were obviously allowing my springs to work better. This setup did a much better job keeping my tires pressed into the ground consistently and creating the most grip possible. My previous damper settings were clearly too stiff and didn't allow the springs to move enough to work properly. On to the fifth race. Even though I had found great damper settings, the odds that I had found the perfect settings on my third attempt was pretty low. I decided to try a slightly softer compression of 2 and slightly higher rebound of 8. This event was back at the really slippery track, so the results were interesting. I placed 39th out of 100, which was a step back from the previous race, but significantly better than the last time I raced on this slippery track, and got 64th. A huge improvement for turning a few knobs. My sixth and final points race for the year was spent verifying the same damper settings as last race, but at a track with high grip. And I'm glad I tried it because it was awful. The car was mushy, but somehow on edge the whole time, breaking traction at strange times and leaning a lot during transitions. These settings got me a 29th place finish, which is better than I expected, but the car felt terrible and gave me no confidence. But why were these small changes so dramatic? I tried 4 damper settings over the season, and each one performed wildly different. So I did some research and read some studies that found the optimal ratio was between 2:1 and 3:1 for rebound versus compression. I also contacted QA1, who made my dampers, and asked for a dyno sheet, which they kindly gave me. This way I could compare the actual damping values for each setting and not rely on just the dial numbers, which is inaccurate. My first setting was actually below 1:1 since I was running more compression than rebound. My second setting only made this worse by running even more compression and even less rebound. So far this is tracking. My third setting, which was my favorite, was exactly 1:1, barely higher than my other settings, but the lower compression was clearly helping. And finally, the small changes I made for my fourth setting had the biggest impact to the ratio, quickly raising it to 1.7:1, getting closer to the optimal ratio, but we know from experience that this compression setting was too low for racing. So on to the million-dollar question, what are the optimal settings? Well, I pulled these equations out of some of the studies that I read, and this is what I calculated. For the desired damping ratio, I put in 1, which is critical damping, meaning the spring compresses and uncompresses with no bouncing and no delays. And for the desired ride frequency, I put in 2.2 Hertz, which I kind of got from online sources and kind of a general agreed upon frequency that the suspension should work at. And then the third one says the sprung mass supported by the damper. And this was a collegiate study where they were hanging weights and testing dampers, so it's slightly different. In the car, this is actually the unsprung mass because it's the weight that the spring has to deal with as we try to push it into the ground and absorb all the bumps and dips. So 77 pounds is actually my unsprung mass. And that brings us to 178 pounds of force per inch per second. From there, I can calculate my compression as 2/3 of that number and my rebound as 4/3 of that number, giving me 116 for compression and 232 for rebound. Now I can plot those values on the dyno chart I got from QA1. I have 116 shown in blue for compression and 232 shown in red for rebound. I chose a velocity of 3 inches per second from some more online research. Autocross is generally a lower speed motorsport, so a lot of the gains happen to come from these lower velocities on the dampers. So I'm going to focus on 0 to 3 inches per second. Now if I look at the damper settings that line up best with these values, I get a compression setting of 4 and a rebound setting of 11. So my favorite settings of this year, which were compression 4, rebound 6, were in the ballpark of this, but clearly this is higher rebound than I was running. And I actually ran this setting for a couple runs at a fun run after the season, and the car was sharper, but I had some unexplained understeering and the car just felt a little funky. I think it was jacking down where the springs compressed and the rebound was so high it didn't allow the spring to fully extend back before the next turn. So the spring just kind of works its way further down and down and down, never has enough time to actually rebound. But you can see that also creates another issue. On the lower speeds, like 1 inch per second, it's overly stiff on this setting. The rebound is way too high for that low of a speed. Unfortunately, these QA1 dampers digress at 1 inch per second, which means they kind of have like a blow-off valve in the system. You can see that sharp bend in the line that I drew. Ideally, I would be able to move that blow-off up to 3 inches per second, and then the line would be almost as straight as that red dotted line for rebound. However, that requires revalving the damper, which I'm not going to do, so I can do something else to compromise a little bit. I can change my rebound setting to 8, which means I'm not quite as stiff at the low speed like 1 inch per second, but I'm a little too soft at 3 inches per second. And you can see at 2 inches per second, I cross over. So right there, it matches up perfectly, but I give up a little bit in the top end and the bottom end. So if you are still with me, I appreciate it, and we are finally there. These are my optimal settings and what I'm going to run next year for autocross. Just some minor adjustments up from 4.6 to 4.8. And I'm really looking forward to running the same settings for a season. I think that'll help me get more comfortable with the car and be consistent race to race, rather than jumping around changing settings, because it's hard to build confidence when the car handles differently race to race. So I think that'll help me extract even a little more speed out of the car. Be sure to check out my other videos, and thanks for watching.